Hi guys, Harry Sunday here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called thereisonlyonefootball.com, guys. They've got all sorts of stuff, from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone. All that sporting stuff you can wear anywhere you want to wear it, guys. That's right. And don't forget the website it's on, therisonlyonefootball.com.
There is only one football!
To show you what's happening right here, right now in the studio, because we've got this beautiful shirts that we're showing with Frothy right now, guys. Frothy's back with me. Frothy, what's happening with these shirts, mate? Can you tell me what's happening right now?
Shut up, let me talk. Now,
bloody
listen,
hell, mate.
We have these great tops here.
Yes.
Now, it's a bit of a 2-minute show tonight, I believe. So
Yes.
we're back in town, but we'll be
We are.
officially back in town on
That's right,
Monday
yep,
with
yep,
some
yep,
major announcements and start again. Announcements.
Yes.
Can you spell announcements? Can you?
Announcements.
Can you spell that?
I can't spell
Well,
it all.
leave it for next time. Now, let's go through the tops. Now,
That's
these
right. Yep,
tops,
yep.
well, if you were born 400 years ago, you'd know about these tops. So we've got the great St George here, I believe.
No, Brisbane Lions,
Sorry
mate.
about that. That's Brisbane Lions there.
Brizzy Lions, mate.
And we got South Melbourne Hellas there.
No, Fitzroy United, you're
Sorry
telling me,
about
mate.
that.
Fitzroy United.
This one's Inter Monaro, is it?
Into Monaro.
No, that's St George Budapest.
St.
apparently.
George, yes, the Hungarians,
and,
the Hungarians,
and over
mate.
to my right, which is your right as well. Are we still
Yes.
on?
We're still on,
We're
of
still
course,
on?
we're still on,
Well,
mate.
over
Yes.
here, we've got the great Sydney Olympic. And I know the cat has probably ordered a couple of
Oh,
those.
he's got a couple of hundred, mate.
Well, I tell you why he's ordered a couple. I had a chat with Peter Raskopoulos during the week.
Oh, he hates his guts.
And he said to me, Peter Catholos, a cat, has ordered 2 because his gut's so bloody big, he needs 2 jumpers to make
Really?
one. So, well, look, that's only a joke. Cat.
Oh, my God, mate.
Well, look, also, Canberra, what's this? Canberra City.
Canberra City. You know who coached them?
Yes.
In 1977?
Frank Garrock. wasn't
Johnny
it?
Warren.
Johnny Warren.
We're laughing, mate, everywhere.
I told you so, Johnny Warren said. I doubt we sell many because how many supporters did they have? That's beside the point. Also, we got Hokoa up there.
That's
great,
right, of course.
Brazilian heritage, are they?
Brasilia. Well, yeah, a lot of them escaped to Brazil.
We'll leave it at that. And the great Marconi.
Marconi.
And let's go through them. Great quality.
Of course.
They fit nicely. They are cheap. You know what? They're too bloody cheap.
$75.
$75 is not even $80.
Plus postage and handling.
Plus postage and handling, and our great friend with David Ben and
Yes.
Arrow Sport.
Arrow
They've
Sport
come-
together.
yes, they've
There is
come
only, and
together.
then guys, you can buy them on. There's only
Well,
one
you keep
football.
going. I'll play the great South Melbourne tune.
There is only one football. Where you can get it from? There is only one
There's only one
football.com
football,
in
yes, sir.
conjunction with Arrow Sport. You can also buy fantastic
Yes,
kits for your teams as well
yes.
at Arrow Sport, and they're working together to bring you these fantastic
Yes, they are,
1977
Are we still on?
Phillips
Check 1,
Lee.
2.
Of course,
Check-
you're bloody
Sorry
on,
about that.
Frothy.
Yep.
And of course, guys, 1977.
Yes,
These shirts are fantastic. You've got the other ones at $150, which are the
Well,
rigid jigs, $150,
yes,
and then
but,
you've got the sublimated ones
yes.
at $75, guys. So yes.
Yes. And can I just say, I
Yes.
suppose it's not appropriate to say this, but my team had a win on the weekend.
Yes, they did.
Well, not the weekend, a couple of days ago. So they're flying, and I tell you what, it's pretty much it. Now we're going to sing a song just to.
Well,
finish
we can't actually sing a song tonight
No,
because
well,
we're just
doesn't
doing
matter.
we're just doing the show tonight.
Well,
that's
we're
all.
just advertising the jumpers here.
That's
and,
right, guys. But where to get them from? There is only one football.
That's the one there. And,
So, guys, thank you, guys. Get these fantastic shirts right now because you will never find them. Good night, guys. Thank you for joining us. See you in a couple of days' time. Thanks, guys. Get on Arrow Sport.
Monday,
Arrow Sport. There's only
We'll
onefootball.com.
probably have Paul Wade on
Thank you,
Monday,
guys. See you. Bye-bye. Thank
It's going to
you.
be summer we're going to have.
Oh, yes, guys. Tonight, guys, that you absolutely go crazy of. Football, this is live tonight. We've got special guests on the phone. We've got special guests in the studio. We've got Frothy coming, and he's going to be as crazy as ever, like myself right now, guys. Good evening, guys. It's Football It's Live. Hup, hup, let's check it out. Feel it. Hey, here we go. Hup. Check it out, guys. Hup, hup. Feel the rhythm, people. Hup. The cup of life. This is the one. Now is it up? Don't ever stop. We should have known. Gotta be strong. We should have known right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it.
Ho!
I see it in your eyes. You want the cup of life. Now that the day's here, you're gonna get it.
Shut up, get on with the show.
Do you really want it? Oh, yes. Do you really? We are the Soccer Psychos. Here we go. Ali, Ali, Ali. Go, go, go. We are the people. We are the passion. We are the history. We are the Soccer Psychos of Australia. And Frothy, it's our way the highway again. Oh, it's our way the highway, Frothy. It's our way the highway. Keep talking, man.
Now, shut up, Harry. First of all...
Here we go again.
George...
Cotsanis.
Cotsanis. Nice to meet you, sir. Harry, George
Frothy.
Cotsanis.
George, hello, George.
Cotsanis.
Nice to meet you, George.
Harry
Pleasure
Sunday.
to be here
Thank
with
you,
you,
George.
gentlemen.
Now, let's just start with this, Harry. We've been away for about
2
2.5
weeks.
weeks.
Yes,
2
yes,
weeks.
yes.
We
Doing our
believe,
battery.
you've been
Doing
on-
our batteries.
Shut up, let me talk. You've
Go
been
on.
on holidays. I haven't been on holidays.
Stop laughing when you're out there, mate. Stop
What's so
laughing. What are
funny
you doing
about
there?
that? Now, well, we have reasons why we weren't here. Now, as you can see, there's another great team here.
Oh, I don't want to talk about that.
Well,
team,
no,
please.
hold on. There's a reason. There's a reason.
There's a reason.
I am.
Please put the soccer jumper on.
I am. Look, you
Football
know what?
jumper.
I'm sick and tired of the code. There's too much
Oh, no.
arguing. There's too much of this. The player recycling. The old players are going back to clubs. The Matildas are getting
really?
done. The Socceroos done it. They lost the other day. Who they lose to 3-2 to Maya.
Myanmar, which is
Myanmar.
Burma.
Burma. So you know
People
what?
know your geography,
I
mate.
am. This is.
John Saz is on, mate. He's done it again.
Let's make this official. This will be my
Okay.
last show. I'm
I've
going
heard
to
that
start my own AFL show. And
Oh, yeah.
George follows Hawthorn, I believe. Is that true?
I'm a doggies man.
Oh,
Doggies,
no,
well,
my God,
George and I will be hosting an AFL show next
Oh,
week.
my
Harry.
God, mate.
We are taking over, and there it is, the great Hawk team there. And maybe I should have put number 19.
Can you
on
please
there.
put the Brisbane Lions
Well,
on?
look, I'm going to change in a second. Look, I'm only
Yeah, for the
joking.
Brisbane. Now,
But look, we're back in town.
we're back in town,
It's
of
simple
course.
as that. Now, let me go and change.
Go and change the bloody thing, will you?
No,
mate,
I'm still on. Check
But
one, two.
like it's bloody well always on, mate. What's going on, George? Welcome tonight. You know, we hope we don't make you as crazy as we are. We don't want you to be like that, but you want to be the straight man with us. That's fine, George. How do you feel?
I'm going to struggle to keep up with you guys, but
George.
maybe I'll have a couple of frothies on the...
Well, he's got a couple of there, I think. So,
yeah, there's a
so
few
George,
cans there.
Before Frothy comes on and gets changed, I tell you what, we want to congratulate Sydney Olympic for winning the minor premiership in Sydney.
Congratulations,
I tell you, Ante Juric will be joining us next week, Frothy, and he'll be joining us next week to talk about his master stroke, how he actually won it by 1 point. Would you believe just one goal difference difference made the difference for him making that minor premiership? Unbelievable. Doesn't matter how you do it, do you?
No, it doesn't matter how you do it. The records will show that they're the champs. That's good. Congratulations. I did see Peter Catholis
Yes.
On social media spruiking that his old club had been successful. So well done to Sydney Olympic.
Absolutely amazing. And you know what? There was plenty of. Did you watch some of the stuff that they did on that day? They had a guy playing the bouzouki in the crowd.
can't have
What's
that,
a
can
bouzouki?
you?
They had the bouzouki
You
in the
can't
crowd.
have
Would you? They had the bouzouki in the
That's
crowd.
soccer.
Anyway.
At half time, the guy playing bouzouki there, people were dancing Zorba the Greek. Mate, they got. What is it about Sydney, George? They've got more oomph, more passion in the game there. It's
I
fun,
wouldn't
isn't
go
it?
that far.
You think Melbourne's better?
Oh, come on.
Us
I'm a
Victorians.
Melburnian.
And also, Frothy, what we got to say right now
Well,
is.
you said what Sydney's got over Melbourne. They have the Mardi Gras.
Oh, here we go again.
Well, they do have the
Well,
Mardi
let me just say, guys.
Let me just say,
We got something very
George,
important
are you
coming.
aware that Harry and I are going to...
Go into the Mardi Gras. Into the
well, no, please
we're
don't.
going to have
Please
our own
don't talk to
float
me.
there. We're going to have Brittany
yeah.
on. We're going to have the number one member, obviously, John Saz. And Harry's going to be dressed as a...
No, no.
Well, are we allowed to say transsexual?
Can't say that much.
Well, I
wouldn't
just
say
did,
that.
but look, we won't get into that. Let's get on to the game.
Now,
you two Socceroos, and I noticed you both got Socceroo tops on.
Say puts Brisbane.
Well, of course, going to put the Brisbane there.
Brisbane Lions again.
The way the Socceroos are going, maybe you two can lace up the boots.
I've always got my boots in the car and I'm ready for it.
I've got them there too. Now, we've got to sing happy birthday to some certain gentleman.
Oh, Benedict Arnold's birthday.
Well, you found out it's Benedict Arnold's birthday, guys.
Well,
our dear champion coach who's made the World Cup. We'd like to sing happy birthday to Happy birthday to you.
Benedict Arnold.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to Benedict Arnold.
Happy
birthday to you. Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hip hip.
Hooray.
Hip hip hooray.
Hooray.
And just let me tell you something about this, Benedict. You better bloody perform at the World Cup, otherwise we're coming for you.
George, let's be
that's a
honest.
given.
Let's talk World Cup first of all.
Oh, boy.
We have got a tough round. Would you say it's fair that we might win one of those 3 games? Now, be honest.
We'd love to win one game.
At least one.
We'd love to win a game. But
Which means we won't go through the next stage.
correct. Well, it depends. Maybe a win
never
and a
know.
draw.
A
You
draw,
might
yes,
sneak
exactly,
through,
George,
but
exactly.
You never know.
It's unlikely.
Unlikely.
But you live in hope.
You live in hope. That's what I remember our friend, what's his name, Joe Mirabella told me once. He said to me a couple of years ago that his team will finish second on the ladder. And I called it. I said they'll finish last, and he laughed. And they finished last.
He hasn't spoken to us since. What have you done to me, mate?
Was that Brunswick's?
No, that's
Melbourne victory.
what do they call Melbourne victory? And I predicted
that's
that, and he said you've had a few to drink. Well, can you imagine? I said to him that if I didn't have any to drink, I'd predict every year. But it doesn't matter. The victory. Again, they're going to be contenders.
Of course they will be.
Yeah, they should
playing
be.
tonight. They're playing tonight.
They're playing. Are they? You joking?
Of course they're playing tonight.
United.
I might put my KO
Now,
and watch the game. Well,
There's a song called "Let's Get Serious."
Oh,
And right
Jermaine
now-
Jackson.
You got that right. But let
you.
me tell you something right now. This week, we had an announcement from the FFA appointing a football person. Finally, Ernie Merrick is done, guys. Give me a hand, guys, please. Give me a hand. Ernie Merrick is the man to disrupt the game and fix the game, the disruptor of the game, they reckon. So, look, George, what do you think about that appointment?
I think it's about time we had a football person in
Correct.
a football position.
Absolutely.
And using our resources correctly. The fact that he's been working in the AFL as a mentor for another coach is ridiculous.
Can't believe it.
And yeah, let's put our resources to good use, and I think he can help. He'll make a difference.
Now, Frothy, we've been talking about this for a long time about a football person coming to the game. Tell me about this, please.
You're talking about Mr. Ernie Merrick.
And
That's
a local
right.
person too, that helps.
Yes.
Look, we've spoken to lots of past
Local-ish.
greats. Craig Johnson, believe it or not. We've had Archie Thompson on.
Yes, we have.
We've had Robbie Slater. We had Robbie Slater on.
Did Archie talk or just laugh all the way through?
Archie laughed.
Archie said that Melbourne victory can give Barcelona a run. Now, nobody's going to agree, but then I thought about it, George. I said, you know what? They probably could give them a run if they play Barcelona's under 12s. Mate.
Shut up and sit down when you're
Well, that's a fact. If they can't beat Barcelona under 12s, but look, all I'm saying is, at the end of the day, the game needs those type of people in there.
Yeah.
He's a proven premiership coach. Well, that brings me, why did Victory get rid of him, whatever it was, 5-6 years ago, which I found that crazy. But the more people you have in there like that, like Conbuzianis, maybe yourself can put your hand up for the role. You do need this. Well, we can't say soccer, football. We do need the football people in the game. Is that going to put more bums on seats? Is that going to attract better players?
It's about development.
It's a plus.
It's about development. It's not about the business. Of
Exactly.
It's
It
about
has to be a
player
plus.
development thing. Totally.
That's
Now,
right.
guys, we've got to bring our guest on. We've got to bring.
Can I say one more thing? Harry?
Yes.
Now, if I were to say to you, let's see if it's the real George Cotsanis.
Okay.
If I were to say to you, Fabian Arseman.
Who?
Well, these are real players here. Remember, we had the funny names.
My God, man.
Would you know who he played for?
No.
He was the Argentinian keeper. And one more. Would you know Danny Shityu?
Oh, no.
That rings a bell from
It
the
rings a
NPL,
bell?
Yeah.
Centre back for Millwall. And there you go. And people think I come up with crap.
God, man.
I came up with the funniest names in football. Now, they go on about your mob, the Greek names, that they're funny, but you couldn't get a funnier name than Arsman, and, well, I'm not going to say this because...
No, you better not.
Fucks. Now, that's a surname.
We have a problem here, boys.
And can you take... What, we still on?
We've got a problem here.
What's the problem?
David, Ben, please, David, we know you're your sponsor.
Yes.
It's not the best news for Australian football that Archie Thompson gets in... It's not Archie Thompson, it's Ernie Merrick, David.
Ernie Merrick. David Ben's been drinking a few
I don't know. But, guys, we're going to bring on this guy here, Mr.
Who
Mike
we got
Hill.
on?
Mr. Mike Hill, thanks. Is he there?
Well, he's got to be there. He has to be there.
Mike, please answer.
Maybe we can talk to his son, Simon, mate.
Magic.
Is that his son, Simon?
Is that Mr. Mike Hill, NSL commentator?
It has to be.
Yes, it is. Good evening, Harry.
Good evening there, Mike.
Wow.
Give him a hand, guys. Give him a hand. We've got one of your favourite people here, George Cotsanis, with us tonight. George is with us as well. We've got Frothy and myself. Yes. How are you? How you doing there in Sydney there, Mr. Hill?
We're doing fine, thank you.
Evening, Mike.
That's George.
Hi, George. How are you?
I'm super duper, mate. Nice to talk to you again.
Yeah, it's good.
Mike, how's your son going these days, Simon? How's he travelling?
No.
How's my what?
You have a son called Simon, don't you? He commentates the A-League. Is that your son?
The Apprentice.
Oh, well, my son. Oh, he's doing right. He's in a band now as well.
I
He plays the drums or something, doesn't he?
Really? Fantastic.
I thought I heard him on Paramount Plus the other day calling a football match.
Oh, God.
Yeah, he's in a band, and I mean, there's some great bands come out of Manchester, didn't they? Freddie and the Dreamers.
Hold on, is Mike talking about the Beatles or something here, Harry? He's had a few too many tonight.
Hang on, you don't even know your
The
music.
old boy down there.
You're talking about the Beatles coming from Liverpool, not
they're from
bloody Manchester,
Liverpool,
mate. Thank you. That's right.
No, but it's pretty. But Simon comes from Manchester, and the other big group, the big group that came out of Manchester, of course, Freddie and the Dreamers.
Yes.
Freddie and the Dreamers.
Household names.
Who were they? I wasn't even born then.
Well, I tell you what, we know your music background. Believe me, we know what you used to be.
Music. Let me just say one thing before I pass you on to Harry. Now, Harry, you've lost weight. Have you gone on a special diet again?
Once again, we've lost the plot here.
Now, Mike, I promise not to play this tune ever again. We just want to see whether we're talking to the real Mike Hill. So I'm going to play this tune. Now, if you pick it, if he picks it, it's a real Mike Hill. Now, here we go, Mike. Now, listen to this.
What the hell is that?
Do you remember that tune, Mike?
No.
Well, Harry, I think we have an imposter on here, mate.
Now, Mike, we've had you on...
Sounds like Eddie Charlton,
we
actually.
had you on a year ago,
Yes,
and it was amazing. And the stories that you have, you didn't even finish them. We couldn't finish them. That was so much about you, Mike. Now, we've got George here as well. He's going to ask you a couple of questions as well, because I know you've been talking to him as well. Now, you started Phillips Top Soccer in 1977 on Channel 10, is that right?
That's right. Yeah, first game was South Melbourne and Sydney Olympic at the old...
South Melbourne. Let me do it again.
Oh, here we go again. Unbelievable.
Well, you said you're going to start from the start. Tell us about your Bucks night, Mike. How was that? How did that go?
Please.
Did they have any, strippers those days?
No.
Are we allowed to say strippers?
No, we're not allowed to talk about that. Now, Mike, we're going to talk to you. We're going to talk to you about in the World Cup year that we are playing. We finally made the World Cup by one penalty. Is that right? Of course, you would have seen it.
Yes.
And how did you feel when we made the World Cup through that penalty? And we're trying to start some kind of new craze called the Wiggle Dance during the World Cup. So we're going to do that, Mike. What do you think? Should we do that?
I think we should just look forward to Qatar now we got there.
Exactly.
And
I mean, it's not a good way, the penalty shootout, but I mean, that's the only way they can do it. But it's not a satisfactory way. But somebody had to win, somebody had to lose. It's always not a good way to have penalty shootouts. I mean, I covered a World Cup in France where the semi-final went to penalties between Brazil and the Netherlands, and two great teams play for 120 minutes.
Yes,
1-1 draw, and then it goes to penalties, and the Dutch missed two penalties. And very unusual players that would miss them. Ronald de Boer was one of them, and Philip Cocu.
Well,
You know, so what a disappointment that was for to sort of lose the World Cup semi-final on a penalty shootout. So
Yes.
it's not a good way, but nobody's come up with a better way of doing it unless you play until
Somebody scores.
somebody scores a goal. But that
George?
could take.
Mike, when you're in the States, when you were commentating there with the local league, did they still have those penalty shootouts where the guy had 5 seconds to run from a certain line? Were you a part of that?
Yes.
Is that a better format, do you think?
It's a bit more of a typical game. I mean, they'd start on the halfway line. You had 5 seconds, and the guy would dribble up. The goalkeeper could come out as far as he could, but he could only handle the ball in the penalty area.
Yep.
So it was, a goalkeeper against an outfield player. So I suppose it was a little bit more like a game than, say, a penalty shot. But it's still, it's still a strange way of deciding the game,
Sounds more like a childish type of penalty taking.
I have seen that. I actually saw that, Mike. The way they sort of like come out of the penalty spot and they want to try and pass the goalie, and sometimes they've failed. I've seen some failures actually. The goalkeeper cuts down the angle as well, and you haven't got much of an angle, or you can't get past them. I've seen the failures in that too, but. I mean, you've seen a lot of qualifiers, Mike. I mean, you've done a lot of qualifiers as a commentator. Is there one that sticks out where I know you said about that one about Holland and whatever, but is there anyone that sticks out to you saying that the other team should have won and that team shouldn't have won in one of the World Cups that you've done? What do you think?
I think whenever it comes to a penalty shootout in a World Cup, especially in World Cup qualifiers, it's a very disappointing way. I mean, can you imagine, if Australia had lost the penalty shootout this time? I mean, everybody would be heartbroken. But at least we are going to the World Cup. I mean, let's be honest, in the old days, and I'm going back now to like the 58 World Cup, which was held in Sweden, when two teams drew and it was 24 hours later, they replay the game.
I agree with that. Or the golden goal, or whoever scores next.
The golden goal, which they did use in the 1992 Youth World Cup in Australia. I think it was 1992 Youth World Cup. You play score one goal, and
I don't agree with
they
the
tried
penalties.
that. UEFA brought that in at one stage. But, 1958, the World Cup in Sweden, like I think it was Russia and somebody, or Soviet Union and somebody, that they were both tied on points to go through to the next round. So they just played the game 24 hours later, same two teams.
Well,
it was equal for both teams.
And what if they drew the next time round? What do they do then? They play again?
Well, it didn't come to that.
Yeah,
It could have.
I'll bring George in a minute, but I'll tell you, I remember years ago when you actually had two corners. There was a rule there in England when you had two corners. If you didn't score, they used corners as a score. Did you ever hear about that in England, Mike?
It has been used in a few competitions.
Yes.
It is used over here in some of the youth competitions.
Junior football.
At the end of the game, they play extra time, and if there's no goals scored, it's what team had the most corners in the game.
Yes.
Yeah.
That's supposed to then say, well, a team that's done most of the attack and has had more of the corners, and therefore they deserve to go through, because although they didn't score.
That's a good way of putting it, because if you had more corners, you obviously pressed more than the others. It's like inside 50s with footy. If you have more inside 50s...
If it's 6-0, it's convincing, but if it's 3-2, that's not necessarily convincing.
No, but
exactly.
That's probably a better way. Look, I've never agreed with penalties personally. I don't know how you feel about that.
No, look, I actually do prefer that American model, because it actually replicates some sort of game skill.
Yes.
It doesn't just come down. So
that's right.
It's more realistic, it's more game style.
I think so too, actually.
And it tests you, and especially if you're tired and fatigued, it's going to test you even more. So if you asked me to vote, that's the one I would go for.
Yeah, same here.
It is exciting, and then some of the players, although they would start on the halfway line, they would shoot out towards the wing to try to get different angles and really test the goalkeeper and everything. As I say, it was interesting. It was something different. But although they did it in America, it didn't seem to sort of resonate with the rest of the world. They didn't seem to be interested in it.
That's probably one thing of the Americans that I'll take.
But I mean, what I will say is that to me, I think a replay is better. I think a replay would be better. Wouldn't that be better?
Well,
like
financially would be.
Financially would be better for the game too. But I mean, and of course we know in the AFL that in the last few years, if they did have a draw, they came back the next week. So that's a big bonanza for any game that goes back to having another replay. That's well, I think, Mike, we have had replays during the FA Cups years ago. Is that right? FA Cups in England.
They used to have it in the FA Cup.
Yes.
The trouble is, it's the World Cup that's the problem, because what do? A team you do have a replay. Do you play it a week later? So does that put the whole tournament back a week?
Well, that's right. Imagine they draw again. They go the second week.
In Sweden, they played it within the next day, which, of course, whoever won that game then was at a disadvantage because they had a day less to prepare for their next game.
Yeah.
So...
But in reality now it's about football and TV money and all that. So the scheduling's done that far ahead with the TV networks that they're not going to mess with any replays and unscheduled games and pushing anything back. It's run to TV money, and that's how it's going to be forever and a day now. It's all about the scheduling, Mike. You've got to keep it on schedule. You should know that, working in the industry.
Well, Well, Mike, what about this? Why don't they just go by, let's say it's 0-0, and instead of replaying or go to penalties, why don't they just go by stats? Who's had more possession? Who's had better chances? Who's had more corners? Just a whole statistic thing, which must prove in a way that even though it was a draw, that team dominated, through possession, more long balls, more chances created, hitting the woodwork, shots on goal. There's a lot of those stats you can look at.
That's called curriculum ball, not soccer.
That's the one.
Possession.
Can you spell curriculum?
I'll spell it later on for you, that's for sure. But anyway...
I think that's a good way, because that just shows that team, dominated in every sort of aspect of the game. I mean, but again, the replay brings money. So is it money, or is it... So what are we doing? Is it about bringing the more dollars in, or what we should be doing? I think the statistics is the best thing to do about it.
But look at the number of games that we have seen, and a lot of us over time, where one team has completely dominated, created all the chances, couldn't put the ball in the back of the net, and the other team get one breakaway, a mishit shot, goes in, and they win 1-0.
I remember a game in Middle Park. I think it was Footscray JUST played South Melbourne. South Melbourne dominated. I was only a kid. They dominated. Footscray JUST, I think it was the years that Dennis Boland was there, actually. So we're talking early days NSL.
1980s, early 80s.
Yeah, they went up one time, one genuine chance, and it went under the keeper's legs and they won. And so were they the better team of the day? No, but it's all about who scores first. Even if he goes in by penalty, at the end of the day, you put the ball, they say behind the net, I say in front of the net.
The possessions are not recorded in.
I have to stop you guys. I have to stop you guys. We've got to get. Sorry, George, and all of a sudden we've got
the bills.
No, what's happening is, please, no mention of the team, the term soccer. It's football.
It is football.
We get a $5 fine for that.
We get a $5 fine. No,
we're in trouble for that too. There you go, Mike. We've got to call it football now.
The only time we can say the F word on the show.
Only thing I could say to you, Mike, is I have a gentleman who's given me a request from Sydney that you know quite well. Kenny Wilson said to me, please ask him about his time in America in the game there. How exciting was in America? Was it at the beginning of the MLS? Were you there, Mike? Is that right?
Yeah, I went there in 93. The World Cup was there in 94, which was an unbelievable experience. I mean, I was working on it for ESPN, not as a commentator, but just as a reporter and doing a highlight show for them. I mean, it was just unbelievable. Before, when I got there, nobody talked about the World Cup, and you'd say, oh, you got the World Cup in June. What's that? What sport's that? But then once it started, I mean, it was just unbelievable. They were getting crowds that just, I remember somebody saying to me, we've got Morocco playing, I think it was Saudi Arabia or somebody like that in New York. And they said, I don't know why they're playing at Giant Stadium. They're going to get nobody.
I'm going to make a bet.
It was a sellout, 77,000 people, And then all of a sudden, all the Americans started to think, well, what is this? And I mean, the crowds were fantastic throughout. I mean, over 100,000 for the final at the Rose Bowl. It just went from there, and then of course they started MLS straight after it, and they really cashed in on it very well. And now, I mean, the MLS has got 30-odd teams in it.
That's right, 2 conferences apparently in the MLS, and we dream to be like this. We absolutely dream, Mike, to be like this. But I tell you what, it's very confusing, our game over here. But I mean, they've just gone on and on and on and built up. They've built their own stadiums in America. They've got their own stadiums. Of course, you know that, Mike. Where to for the MLS? I mean, apparently MLS teams have been beating in practice matches Premier League teams. Have you noticed that?
Well, they're practice matches, Harry. Let's not get excited.
Hang on for a sec. Hang on.
Oh, yes. I mean, it's... unfortunately, the American way of life and the way the America is set up is completely different from Australia, because every city in America has its own television station. It might be part of NBC or CBS, but they have their own one. So that station will telecast all the sport that happens in that city. So if you get an MLS side in that city, all of a sudden they've got a television deal for their city, right? And they do deals with all the other cities around America, so that when that team is playing away, you get that game on your station as well. And they all swap coverages, and so they've got a great television deal. They don't need, like we have to sort of rely on a Channel 10 or 7 or 9. Right. Over there, you just have your own local station, and they talk to all the other ones to get your away games. So all of a sudden, David Beckham's Miami, a brand new team. Every game is on television, live. Yes. Every game.
George?
No, they seem to have got a model that works, and Mike's seen it close at hand. And I think Mike and I have spent many, many hours on the phone together while I've been out walking the streets of Glenroy, trying to solve the problems of Australian football, I know. Not soccer. Apparently, we have to call it football.
Football, that's right. Football. It's all on there.
But it's a football, exactly.
Well, anyway, I'll call it what I like, because I've been doing that for 53 years. But Mike and I have nearly sold everything, and we're just putting down the blueprint. We're nearly there, aren't we, Mike? We've nearly done it, you and I.
Yeah, we just need you to win that $60 million on the lotto, and we've solved all the problems, you know.
But you said you go Harvey's with the ticket, and I haven't seen any cash, Mike. That's the problem.
Now, talking about cash, fellas, listen, Mike, you might be interested in this. I have some retro tops here for sale. They'll be
for sale.
Yes, they're for sale. Would you like to put in an offer? Well, just give me $2,000. I won't even have to show them.
Oh, here we go.
No deal.
Here we go.
Now we have a South Melbourne top here, Mike.
He's back again, mate. Shoot him.
Sorry about that. We have Horace.
Sorry, Mike. Horace has gone across the bloody
little bastards every time we do the show. Shoot the bastard. Now, listen, Mike. We have a South Melbourne top here. It's I think it's a 2012.
No, that's not. It's not NSL, mate.
Well, it's a South Melbourne top there. We got that one there for sale, Mike. You might be interested. We also have another one here with Mehmet Jurakovic on the back.
God, here we go.
You remember that player, I suppose.
I do remember Mehmet, yes.
Would you say, George, a question for both, George and Mike, one-word answer.
Yankos. I thought the question was Yankos or Jurakovic.
Here we go. I knew it. I knew that.
Now,
was that the question?
No, the question is...
Because my answer will always be Yankos.
Right, okay. Now, you're being biased. You're obviously a Heidelberg supporter.
I'm not biased.
Oh, well, are you a Heidelberg supporter?
Yeah.
Well, you're biased. Now, anyway,
me too, mate.
Now,
what was the question?
Well, the question is, shut up, I'll tell you the question.
Oh, get out.
Mehmet Jurakovic, would he be at least in the top 3 defenders in Australia ever?
No.
Ooh, no.
Mike?
But he was very good defender.
You'd have to say he's in the top 3 ever.
In fact, Australia over the years has produced a lot of very good defenders. You go back to
Alex Tobin,
Charlie Yankos, Steve O'Connor, David Ratcliffe,
Peter Wilson.
Yes,
Peter Wilson. You know,
can we have a top 3?
Was Joe Marston a centre half?
I would say he was. When he,
in England.
Well, would you say he'd be in the top 3? We've got to have Alex Tobin maybe somewhere in the 3. Milan Ivanovic.
Tobin doesn't make my top 3.
Oh, Tobin? How do you think about that, Mike? Tobin wouldn't be...
It's very hard to compare...
It would be, I understand that.
It's very hard to compare players from different eras, different teams.
Milan Ivanovic, you forgot about him too.
Well, I mean, there's been lots of greats.
It doesn't matter that we forgot about him. Terry Venables forgot about him on the most important night.
We know
there you go.
We know very well.
Now, we've got a South Melbourne top here, the old, what's that here? That's the old Coca-Cola Soccer League. Remember Jurakovic going there? That's going cheap, $800.
Oh, yeah.
We got another one here. That's the Greek national
Is it
team
lira
here.
or dollars?
Yeah, give me $5 for that one, I suppose. So that's pretty good.
$5,
It's only worn
God,
6
Mike.
times. I haven't washed it. And I've got the another top here,
my
Fernando Di
God.
Maria. So do you remember him, do you?
Didn't he play futsal as well?
Yes, he did. Yes,
for the
fantastic
futsal
player.
rules, apparently. There you go, the South Melbourne top there. Now, Mike, you can put any bid you like there. And I've got a 2006...
Wait for the 60 million, Mike.
Yes, yes, we got another top here.
That's
it's
an original.
And this one here, it's got Rocket Batteries, Mike, as a sponsor. And this is a special one for me. It's never been washed. I've worn it about 50
Here's a question
times.
for you. How are
Yes.
Rocket Batteries going?
Rocket Batteries
They're
are
out of
broke.
business.
Are they still around?
They're out of
they're not
business,
still
actually.
Soccer
Now,
sponsorship that sent them
Mike, I'm going to ask you about the qualifiers, the Australian qualifiers.
Now, be honest, Mike.
Now, Mike, you've done quite a few Australian
Yes.
qualifiers. Is that right? Before
He has.
Before 2006, did you think that
No
we had
fail.
chances at all before 2006? That what was the best opportunity that we had before 2006 to make the World Cup? You've seen a lot of them.
74 has to be the best team ever, Mike.
Come on, Mike, tell me.
I thought the best team after the 1974 team under Raleigh's team that actually qualified, I thought that 1985 side that lost to Scotland at Olympic Park, that was a great side that Frank and Eddie Thompson had built up together. I mean, Scotland took that very, very seriously. And you've got to remember, that Australian team, only one player was playing football professionally in that team. The rest of the team were all part-timers here in Australia playing in the NSL. The only one who wasn't was David Mitchell.
Yeah.
And that says a lot, doesn't it?
It does. I mean, you've got a
says
team
a
of
lot.
part-timers playing highly paid professionals. And I mean, Scotland took that very seriously. I did talk to Alex Ferguson after that game. I came across him. I met him in America, and we were chatting, and we talked about that game. And he turned around and he made one very big statement. That was the best game that Jim Leighton ever played.
Oh, the goalkeeper. Yeah, I remember him very well. We couldn't get the ball past him. I remember those games very well.
I know.
At Hampden Park, my God.
Yeah, and John Cosmina still to this day does not know how he stopped one of his shots down at Olympic Park.
Well,
It
it
was
was
a brilliant save.
that header across goal and across his body. And, Jim Leighton put to bed really all the myth about Scottish keepers that night forever and a day, didn't he?
That's correct.
And, of course, he did it in our backyard. And Jimmy Patikis was huge that night, and Ojarko.
Yeah.
Kenny Murphy was best on ground.
Kenny Murphy.
Yes.
We should have beat him.
We should have beaten it. We should have beaten them, and we should have qualified for the World Cup. So Mike,
Well, tell you how seriously that Scotland took that game was that, I mean, in those days, players did not get released by their clubs. And Scotland actually hired a private jet to fly Graham Souness from Italy, because he was playing for Sampdoria, to get him to Melbourne to play in that game.
Yep.
And that's how seriously they were taking it. Now, you get Scots paying out that sort of money, that's a big deal.
Well, I tell you what, when he came from Sampdoria, you know what? His nickname was in Sampdoria, wasn't it? Champagne Charlie or something? Champagne Charlie. Champagne Charlie, they're calling him.
Champagne Charlie.
That's right. So that's the
He
thing.
could could play a big old Graham
Oh
Souness.
God, he was. His brother played here
What
too.
would he
actually.
be worth in the market today?
Oh God.
About $50, I suppose. Hey, Mike,
Oh,
you know what? Have you ever seen, with your British background, I take it, have you ever seen the YouTube video of Murray Walker calling a snooker game? Have you ever seen that? Have you seen that?
No.
Well, I'll tell you what, we're going to try and get Mike Hill calling a snooker game, because he is the Murray Walker of football, I think. He's just got that
Really?
voice. There's something special.
I bet you, Mike.
Pretty much like his son Simon going around these days, Harry.
It's the
Of
voice
course.
of our old lounge rooms, isn't he?
He does, yes. We remember him well,
Mike,
even though I was only
and
two,
just
but I
wanna-
remember him.
I just want to ask Mike, is there any chance, Mike, you could actually do any... I can understand where we're all getting into a different era in our lives, whatever. Do you think you could still come and do a game somewhere? Some game somewhere, Mike? What
Just
do you think?
needs to be asked.
Exactly.
A soccer match?
Yes.
Football match?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely. See, don't forget, a lot of the games I did in America, they were all done off a monitor in a studio.
That's correct.
I mean, with the exception of going to France for the 1998 World Cup, all the other matches I did for ESPN, which the Champions League, were all called live off a monitor.
Exactly. So you don't have to be out there at all. You just watch the monitor and just go for it. That's it. Get the players' numbers. That's right.
Yeah.
Harry, can we just...
you do get some embarrassing moments. I remember calling a World Cup qualifier between Poland and I think it was Ukraine, and we couldn't get the team sheets through. We were waiting for them to arrive, and the teams were coming out. We had the picture up, and they're walking out onto the field. We still haven't got the team sheets, and then just as the kickoff comes, the team sheets arrive. They slide them under the door to the studio where I was doing the calling, and they're all in the Russian alphabet. I had no idea. And would you believe Poland scored within 2 minutes? And
no, we don't believe that.
And lucky enough, the guy who scored it was Olise Debe. He was the only black player on the field, so I was able to recognise him.
There you go.
And then a few minutes later, we got the full teams all written out in English, and we just carried on. And nobody realised that we hadn't got the team sheet. So
the magic of television.
Mike, can you do us a favour, please? This year's Australia Cup final, I'll put in the teams that are going to make it. Brisbane Roar, South Melbourne. Can you call that game for us, Mike?
They're not even in there.
What do you mean, South Melbourne out, are they?
They're out. Yes, they are.
Well, we'll go for Oakley, maybe. How's that?
Oh, my God.
Can you call the game Oakley versus Brisbane Roar? Can you give us a bit of an entree? How would you start it, Mike? Does he know the players? That's an interesting one.
Of course he does.
Well, yeah, I mean, you need to know the teams. You need to know how they got there.
Exactly.
You need to find out the background of the players and who are playing, how they got there. Did they, how they got past the semi-final? Did they go close? Did they need a shootout to get through?
How much prep would you do for each match, Mike, during the week?
Couple hundred.
Say a match of the day. How many hours would you put in preparation?
Oh, you do 2 or 3 hours. I mean, the easiest part of doing the game was actually when you're sitting in front of the monitor, because then it's all taken out of your hands. You've got to just comment on what you're seeing and what's happening. But you do your research, your background on the players, because you just can't sort of one name after another. You've got to try to know a little bit about each player.
Well, Mike, you know a lot about it. A lot of players. Can you give us a 20-second demo of a past NSL game? Can you just put 2 teams in your head and call it like you did on TV? We got Andy Pascalidis to do this.
Andy did it a few weeks ago.
I think he said Salaka scored. I think he said, was it Salaka to Cotsanis?
It was Salakas because it's his cousin.
There you go.
His cousin.
Yeah.
Oh,
see, you talk about bias there, Dave.
Here we go.
Let's see Mikey's bias.
I was just giving Mike some thinking time there. That's what I was feeling.
Are you still with us? Can you give us
I'm tipping Menace Lamont comes up.
Oh, yes. I bet you. Any time.
Now, Mike, can you give us something? Can you give us a 15-second commentary on a real game from start? Or read out the team sheet or a passage of play. Can you give us something, Mike?
Well, the league I used to enjoy covering the most for ESPN was the Dutch League.
The Dutch League.
And this is like in the mid-70s, before the Bosman ruling came in and absolutely ruined the whole of European football. Because up until then, you could only have 3 foreign players in a team. If you remember, you go back, you had the Inter Milan had the 3 Germans, and AC Milan had the 3 Dutch players, Van Basten,
Koeman,
Rijkaard, and
Ruud Gullit.
Ruud Gullit, that's right.
Champion
but
players.
Before that, we used to cover the Dutch League, and if you remember, Ajax were winning the European Cup.
Correct.
But when the Bosman ruling came in, we'd covered the Dutch. The following season, we started covering the Spanish, and Barcelona was basically that Ajax side. They had the De Boer twins, they had Patrick Kluivert, they had
Van Basten.
What a team.
Yeah, it was a great team, and that Bosman ruling has a lot to answer for, because that, I think, was the start of all these super clubs, and it was all about money. But I used to enjoy covering the Dutch League, and they were so good to watch. The players were so skillful, and it was great. And that team, that Ajax side that won the Champions League, was a great team. Very good to watch. The De Boer twins, Jari Litmanen, young Patrick Kluivert coming in. Mark Overmars on 1 week.
What about Koeman? Was he there?
The fullback.
Ronald Koeman, I think it was.
He was there.
Yeah. No, he was playing for Feyenoord, Koeman. But,
Mike, can I say this? Your favourite 3 teams: your international team, your Premier League team, English Premier League, and your A-League team. Who are they, Mike? Let's find out. We want to find out more about the great Mike Hill.
Well, I tell you what, the A-League side or the NSL side that I always enjoyed watching from the day one of the start of the Phillips League, as it was then, and all the way through, right through to the A-League until I went to America in 1993, was Adelaide City.
Well, yes, exactly.
There you go.
They started off as a
they are right there.
great side under Edmund Kraft, and then through the 80s they had a very, very good side. The Vidmars came through. They always promoted young kids. Steve Maxwell came through. Alex Tobin came through, and they had a marvellous coach in Zoran Matic.
Best coach.
So that was your favourite NSL team, you'd say?
Yeah, I think I always enjoyed covering them. I also always enjoyed watching them because they played nice football.
One guy that I actually loved at Adelaide City was Steve Maxwell. What a player he was!
Maxwell.
How fast was he? Unbelievable.
Yeah. Great player.
Unbelievable player.
Well, then
I remember a young Carl Viet making his debut.
Yes.
He's and this is what I like about Adelaide. He's still there. He's now the coach.
Yes, he is, and doing.
He went overseas. He played. He came back, and they always had this from the time that Edmund Kraft was the first one I came across in 1977. But their coaches always came from within the club. Within the team. Zoran Matic, I remember when he was the centre half there. Amazing. And then he became the coach. So that's a team I've always enjoyed watching. I mean, there's been different teams throughout the NSL. Sydney Olympic had a great time when they had the youngsters, Riskopoulos, Mark Kousas, Peter Katholis, and all of those came through.
Oh my God.
Yeah, Jimmy Patikas. Marconi had a very good side under Bertie Mariani. And South Melbourne had some good sides as well. When Ange Postecoglou was working his way in. And
I just might add, Heidelberg had a pretty good side too in the 80s.
Yeah, I remember that as well.
Let's not forget that.
You're a Heidelberg supporter. Clearly you're a Charlie Yankel.
Now, I'm going to get away from everything there, guys, in this. I'm going to talk to you, Mike, about our opportunity in Qatar.
Well, we're going to win the World Cup, Harry.
Hang on for a sec. Now, we've got a panel here tonight. Of course, we've got Mike on phone, we've got George here, and myself and Frothy. I'm going to ask you about France, the game against France. What sort of, Mike, I'm going to go ask everybody here, Mike, what sort of result do we need against France? Now, that's our first game.
We need or we're going to get?
Hang on, Frigate. What sort of result do we need against France, Mike?
Well, a win.
I think I think we can win that game. Because at the moment, France are not the team that they used to be.
There you go.
It's not a very happy team. They're not playing well. And I think a lot of teams...
No.
I'll tell you a story. I remember when we played in the Seoul Olympics in 1988.
I remember that very well.
And our first game was against Yugoslavia.
Yugoslavia. Never heard of them.
They had won the bronze medal in Los Angeles 4 years earlier, and they were one of the favourites to go through and win it. And I remember talking before the game to Frank Harrock, because it was our opening game for Australia. And I said to Frank, are we going to win this? And he said, we are going to win.
Wow.
I said, why? He said, because they are thinking of peaking from the quarterfinals onwards. He said, we are going to peak from day one. Wow. And that's exactly it. And I think France is going to go in with that. They're going to expect to win it, and they're going to think, well, we'll get through the group and then we'll start turning it on. And I've got a feeling Australia might just be able to sort of catch them cold.
I love your ambition and passion.
Now, George, your decision against France, what do you think?
am one-eyed and biased and all of that.
Well, you can't be. You can't be.
Well, I can be, but I still
Well,
can't
you
see
can
us.
be,
I still
can't we?
can't see us winning.
So what do you think, George? As in, do we go for a draw? Do they hold back? Do they go for a draw?
No, if we get a draw, it'll be like winning the World Cup.
Aha.
That's
so
what
draw.
I think.
So that means it's impossible beating France, then.
So, Frothy, what do you think about... Oh, I know what Frothy's going to say here.
Well, come on, guys. Are we serious here? Now, Mike, you on the Chardonnay tonight or the Scotch on the rocks?
Here we go.
Telling us that the Socceroos have got a chance against France, you're saying?
We've beaten France before anyway. We've beaten France before.
Well, hold on.
We
When
have
did
beaten
they
France.
beat them? Was it a practice match? Was it?
We played them, and Clayton Zane kicked. He headed the ball in, was it in one of the Asian countries? He had
Hold on,
beaten them.
guys.
He had
Different
beaten them.
Socceroo team. This current Socceroo team is not nowhere near like that team you're talking about, Harry. But look, I would say 2-0 to France.
2-0. Here we go.
I didn't say 6-0. I said 2-0.
Okay,
Well,
Mike.
don't forget, Paul Pogba is still a doubt for France.
There you go.
His injury isn't as bad as he was.
I prefer
But
he played.
And, I mean, Griezmann's not the player he was 4 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think France have got a few problems.
I think you should be on the plane, Mike, and I think you should do the team talk, and I think
Absolutely.
you'll work wonders for the boys because you feel that
I've got
confident.
Smarty. He'll see if he wants me to bring my boots as well.
Okay, now, Mike, we're going back the full circle again. Now we're talking Tunisia. If
Whoa.
Tunisia is not the greatest chance of winning, what would it be then?
I think we can get past Tunisia.
Sure.
The only thing that worries me about this Australian team is that Graham has not had the opportunity of getting them together.
That's true.
I mean, we've had no practice matches.
No, we haven't.
I think we're going to have one against New Zealand.
That's it.
But a lot of the players who are going to be called up for that won't be able to get time off from their clubs.
That's right.
The whole World Cup being played in November is a joke anyway. But I think we can overcome Tunisia. I think Graham will, install that Australian spirit into that team, and we've got some players in it. If all of them can stay fit, and Graham can put his best 11 out, I think we can get past Tunisia.
Well,
George,
that's 6
what do you
points
think,
over
George?
the
George, your
possible.
turn now.
That's our best chance for it.
So win for sure. Now the thing is, what you guys have to understand is that it just.
Well, what about my team?
Hang on for a sec. Oh, it's coming.
Thank you.
At this stage, that sort of team that you play, you need to go forward and win. You have to go forward because you've got to get a draw, you've got to get a win. So that gives you an opportunity to qualify for the next round. So that's a
Correct way.
Frothy.
Oh, what? Tunisia Socceroos?
Yes.
So at this point, we have 6 points
6
going
points over
into the
possible
Denmark
6.
game. So we only need to draw against Denmark because
That's
we've
right.
got 6 points.
Well, Tunisia will shock you, boys. They're going to win.
Here
1-0.
we go again. Here we go.
Jot that down, Harry.
Oh, geez, I've just done it. Mike,
Can you jot that down,
I've
please?
done it. I've done it.
Thank you very much.
Now, Mike, Denmark. Denmark is the...
No hope in the world.
Hang on for a sec. Denmark could be anything.
No.
Unpredictable.
No.
You say
Yeah,
that,
they
Mike.
always are unpredictable. They're usually a very good side. A lot of people underestimate them.
Exactly.
They could be the surprise team and top the group.
Correct.
Could be.
France aren't really France. Tunisia are not the greatest team going around. Denmark, they can be very good. I think the Socceroos will get 1 point in that 3-game period there.
I don't know
might go
about
for
that.
a draw there. Well, look, let's be honest. Look, let's give them credit. At the end of the day, we know they're not going to qualify. We know they're not going to get through that group. Seriously, guys. We hope they do.
Based on
But at
Mike's
the end of the day,
mathematics...
based on his mathematics, but
Yeah.
I think Mike's had a few Chardonnays tonight, Chris.
No, he wouldn't do that.
Down, please.
Not while he's on the job.
But look, regardless, Mike, they made the World Cup. Simple as that.
Yep.
Yeah, I think that's
That's a
great.
credit there alone. They made it. How many other teams didn't make it? You got to give them credit.
Italy did make it.
No, they didn't.
No, they
I just,
lost
wanted,
to,
wanted to point that out.
Who did they lose to? The Macedonians, I heard.
Yep.
Who were they?
Macedonia, please.
Sorry about that.
Now, Mike, we only need 2 wins. We need 1 draw, 1 win, and then it all comes into...
So 4 points will
mathematical.
get them through the next round, you're saying?
Should be able to.
So winning the draw
Well, we
doesn't.
didn't in 2006, didn't we? Did in 2006, George? Of course we
It's
did.
possible, yeah.
That's right,
It'll
yes,
depend on
exactly.
the other results.
Well, Harry, you're missing the point here. 2006, that Socceroo team will belt this current Socceroo team.
Here we go.
Correct, George?
I don't think they'd get out of their cars to even bother playing.
Here we go.
Thank you very much.
That's a beauty. So, Mike, overall, what would be a pass mark for Graham Arnold? We know it's his birthday today. We sang happy birthday for him.
A win in the draw.
So what do you think, Mike, would be a pass mark?
To keep his
pass
job.
Mark?
Well, I know Graham sets himself very high standards, and he sets high standards for his teams as well. I think as long as they can come out with their heads held high and do Australia proud, I think he'll be more than happy. But I think deep down, he'll be looking to do what the 2006 team did, and that's to get out of the group.
Exactly. And that's what we need. Exactly. So, Mike...
And nobody gave us a chance in 2006. I mean, all the experts, when that draw was made, was, we were only going there to make up the numbers. And then we beat Japan, we beat Croatia, and got through.
To the last 16, wasn't it? 16.
To the last 16.
Exactly. And that's what we need to do as well.
That was actually surprising back then. Nobody really gave him a chance to get through to 16.
But actually, that in 2006, I tell you what, mate, where I was sitting down watching that Italian game, oh, boy. Everybody knows that game. But I tell you what, now they're saying that, George, and you know that too, now saying, have a look at the Italians now. Is that karma coming back to bite them? What they've done to Australia? You know the story, don't you? That penalty, it still sticks in my mind, George.
I'm still getting over the Iran game. I haven't moved on.
Here we go.
I'm still 9 years behind.
All of us are
still 9 years behind.
And that's where we should have qualified too, actually. Terry Venables, my God.
Fellas, you're forgetting one thing. The Italians have won, 5 World Cups?
Hang on, mate. You've got to make it to win it. You've got to make it. Hang on. You've got to make it to win it too, that's right.
Well, they've won 5. The Socceroos will never win. Well, I shouldn't say that. They might win.
No, they will.
They will.
At some stage.
When Mike and I's plan is sorted out.
When you two take over the team.
When we take over. Well, we'll take over the running of the whole thing and Ernie Merrick.
We'll make it happen.
We'll work with this.
We'll
get it right.
We'll get Ernie there. We'll get Conbuzianas as well.
Here we go. Mike, we want to thank you tonight for joining us, Mike. We're going to bring on Mr. MPL very shortly. So, Mike, thank you for joining us, Mike, tonight. It's been fantastic talking to you, Ian.
Thank you very much. It's been great. And I'm not sure if I'm looking forward to this World Cup or not, because it's strange, isn't it? A World Cup in November.
Yeah.
And you just wonder how sort of some of these players, we're talking France, the big teams, their players are going to be involved in European competition.
That's right.
And domestic competition. There's not going to have had a time off. And then as soon as it's finished and they're knocked out, they're back into their leagues and playing again.
That's right. It's too much.
It's too much, and that is an unknown factor in this World Cup. And I've got a feeling a lot of the favoured teams are going to find it very, very difficult. Because the German team, all those players are going to be playing for Bayern Munich. The French team, a lot of those players are going to be playing for, in the Champions League. And, they're going to have a very hectic schedule before they get to Qatar.
And I'll tell you what,
conditions aren't going to be easy.
And basically worn out from their competitions too. So it ain't going to be a normal World Cup as far as you're saying, Mike. So that's what it sounds like. That's right.
Yeah.
Mike, thank you very much. We'll talk again shortly before the World Cup comes through.
Before Mike goes, one more question.
Please.
Which is the A-League team you follow, Mike? Tell us that, and be honest. Is there an A-League team you follow? You just want them to win every week.
I still like watching Adelaide.
Oh, there you go.
Adelaide United, there you go.
And I don't live in Adelaide. I never have lived in Adelaide. I just like the way they play football.
You know what? I agree.
And Colbert has kept their tradition going.
All right, Mike. Mike, thank you for joining us, Mike. We'll talk before the World Cup. We'll get you back on before the World Cup, Mike. Thank you very much, Mike. Thank you, Mike. Thank you. I tell you what, mate, George, he has the knowledge like you wouldn't believe.
That's good,
he should have been involved more in the game than a commentator. What do you think of that, George? You spoke to him many times.
Oh, well, there's a football person through and through, and he loves the game, and he's passionate about the game, and he's passionate about Australian football. So he certainly has plenty to offer, and has had plenty to offer. But whether or not anyone's going to listen, probably not at this stage.
I know.
Yeah.
Now, George, we're going to bring on Mr. NPL. Let's be talking about the NPL. So we're going to hear about Heidelberg, yourself, knowing that
Heidelberg. I was there.
We're going to talk about this.
Your
talk
team.
about that.
We're going to talk about that with Mr. NPL.
I
He'll
was
know about
right
this
in the
too.
middle of that.
So let me get him on. You want to start? Let me get him on first, okay? Guys, you're going to hear something very, very... Not really
happy,
nice.
Jan.
Not
What
very
happened
nice at all, actually. So that's something you want to hear out there. And of course, in Sydney, a few days ago as well, that was disgusting. The game does not need this sort of thing. The game needs to grow at a better way than having riots outside the stadiums at Apia, which is absolutely ridiculous. But let's talk to Mr. Imperial about this stuff as well. So let's get him, guys. Mr. NPL coming on, right? So there you go.
Is he on tonight?
He's on tonight. He's watching right now. So yep. Here we go. Let's get him, guys.
Where is he? Come on, Gavin.
He always gets his sister to answer the phone all the time, guys. You know, don't you? Oh boy.
What's going on? As much as they bloody want, but I'll tell you what.
Mr. NPL, Gavin, how are you going?
Check 746.
Good. How are you guys? What's happening, Proppy? What's happening, mate?
G'day, mate. How you going?
I'm all right, mate. You're still trying to flog those shirts, mate, for like $200 each, mate.
Don't worry about those.
You're off your head, mate.
Excuse me, sir. Not 200, 185. Thank you very much.
Oh my God, mate. Please,
Exactly.
mate.
Yeah.
Try to rip off anyone,
Gavin,
mate.
Gavin,
Get
Gavin.
money out of them as best you can, mate.
Now,
That's the usual Proppy story.
I don't know why you're laughing because your team, we're not allowed to say the team here. They're blue and white, George.
The other lot. The other mob.
The other mob. Apparently they got done to Port Melbourne. Gav, what happened there, my boy? What's going on down there?
What happened, mate? Yeah, well, we didn't play well, actually. It was pretty disappointing performance and result all around, actually. I went to the game, actually. But, yeah, it wasn't good. We started well, but then we just, it was all Port Melbourne from once we scored. It was all them. You know what I mean? As in possession, chances created.
So they deserved the victory, it wasn't just a lucky game they won.
So,
they deserved the win, Port.
Correct. We were poor. They were good. And it probably should have been more than 2-1. It should have been maybe 3 or 4-1.
Can I ask you one thing about Port Melbourne? Was the former captain of South Melbourne playing?
Yes, Michael Eagle was playing. Yeah, he played well. Yeah, they got some good players. They play a good style of football. I've seen them 3 times this year, Port Melbourne. They play a really good style of football. Free, fast, free-flowing. You know what I mean? The good technical style. You know what I mean? Dominate possession. They play a really good style of football. I was wasn't surprised. Going into the game, I knew it was going to be a tough game, and I just thought to myself, if we can get a draw, that would be a good result, because we didn't play well the week before against Altona at home either. Even though we won 2-0, we didn't play very well at all, I didn't think, and I just think we're just tightening up a bit, being so close to this minor championship. But I think once we clinch it, not this weekend, coming the one after, I think we'll be right. We'll hit form going into the finals, and we'll see what happens.
You're going to miss your striker, aren't you?
Yeah, well, that's right. I know he's gone, which is unfortunate. But
why is he gone?
He's had a chance. He's gone India.
India. The money's there. There you go.
Really?
Yeah. Well, he had a chance to go and play professional football. You can't deny him that.
You can't.
Supposedly, if you believe what the South Board say, we got a transfer fee for him as well.
Don't you believe the South Board?
No.
Well, is there a South Board?
Sorry to say.
I
believe about as much as I do the Heidelberg Board, mate.
No, I believe the Heidelberg Board.
Oh, of course you would. That's right. Exactly. But that's okay.
Why don't we talk Heidelberg now that George has got us going?
Now, Gavin, is it true that South Melbourne will finish first? Is that right? They'll finish first?
They will.
But if we beat Dandy City, who are second last on the table, yes, we're going to finish first.
Okay, let me tell you.
At home.
Now, let me tell you. Now, you're going to finish first. Sydney Olympic have finished first on the weekend, which means they're qualified for the national now. So, South Melbourne...
That's not happening, Harry. That's dead. That's not happening.
It's gone. It's finished.
Finished. Done.
Ridiculous.
All over, mate.
That is ridiculous.
Yeah, well, I didn't like it anyway. It was a load of crap. You're going to have a tournament like that. Play the proper champions, not the minor champions. The people who win, the team who wins the grand final, the team is crowned champions of their state, not the minor champions after home and away season. So it's just a load of crap, as far as I'm concerned. But anyway, that's my opinion.
Yeah, but what you're saying to me now, it's gone completely. So even if the guys who win the grand final aren't going to do it anyway, is that right or not?
In review.
But
it's not going to be on this year.
Okay, I get you. So Gavin, how are we going with the whole of the NPL completely now, please?
It was a crazy weekend, results-wise. Yes. Crazy. The weekend started with Oakley beating Knights 3-1, which is everyone expected that result. Then on Saturday, Eastern Lions 0, Hume 0. Shocking result for Hume. They're fighting relegation.
They're gone.
They were playing Eastern Lions, who, they're in a massive relegation battle now with Dandy City. Equal points with 2 games left, both of them. So... You know what I mean? That was their chance to get the 3 points on the board, break away from Dandenong City.
Yes. And
they couldn't do it because Dandenong City beat Avondale 3-1, which was the craziest result of the year, as far as I'm concerned.
What did you say to me?
Dandenong City beat Avondale 3-1, which was the craziest result of the year. That's
a miracle.
Something's going on in Avondale, I reckon. I don't know. They're just been having shocking results in the last 3 or 4 weeks, and they're outside the 6, they're 7. So I don't know. I'm just guessing here, but something's going on down there. I don't know what. Maybe they're just not happy about their court case and their outcome. Okay. Who knows?
Now, what's the other scores?
Port 2, South 1. Obviously, we talked about that before.
Yep.
The other big shock was Altona 3, Bentley 0.
Ooh, that's something going on there.
Yeah, it was a big shock. I don't know what's going on there. A big shock that was. Bentley are still trying to confirm their final spot, and they go to Altona and lose 3-0. Like, crazy result. Mm-hmm. Danny Thunder 1, St Albans 0, and then Green Gully 2, Heidelberg 1. So
why are you laughing?
Yeah.
What are you laughing for there?
Why am I laughing, mate?
Hang on for a sec. So
good week for the Burgers, mate. You lost to Brisbane, and then you lose to Green Gully at home, mate. Good week for you.
Hang on. So is that the end? Is there more?
No, that's it. That's all the results from round 24.
We want to know the ladder, please.
The table's like from 4th to 8th. Any of those can miss or make the finals. It'd be very unlucky for Green Gully to miss the finals. They're on 42 points. But it's still so tight, you know what I mean? Like, and in the relegations, like where I'm kind of looking as well, like Hume on 20 points, Dandy on 20 points. Hume have got minus 17 goal difference, Dandy a minus 30.
Ooh,
so that is, like, for me, an extra kind of like point for Hume, if you know what I mean? Like, Dandy Long ain't making up a 13 goal difference in 2 games.
And can you confirm that the third team, third last, will not now have a playoff with the third team from MPL 2? That's not on anymore.
I'm not sure about that, to be honest.
I think it's just two up, 2 down.
Well, as far as I know, it's just the bottom 2 going down and the top 2 from MPL 2 coming up, because I know 3 are coming up from MPL 3, 3 are going down from MPL 2. Oh, it's all over the place. Like, I haven't read it, to be honest. Like,
okay, yeah, cool.
Have to read it, have to look it up and read it and understand it better.
I need to speak to you about something that I heard during the week. I said, and Frothy's fallen asleep right now, so I think this might wake him up. Frothy,
sorry, guys.
Gavin,
what happened? What happened Heidelberg with Brisbane and Heidelberg and the victories of
we're going to talk about this quickly.
Sorry, guys, I just fell asleep, but I heard someone.
You were there. What happened, mate?
I heard someone say Avondale lost 3-1. Was I dreaming?
No, Guru.
Didn't they lose midweek as well?
You weren't, mate. Actually, you weren't. No, that was a serious result.
Now, let's talk about your team,
lost
George.
To Dandy City.
Heidelberg, number 1, the running man's still alive and he looks fitter than ever.
Oh, he's fantastic.
He's fit as a fiddle, though.
He's fit as a fiddle, so he's going all right. Maybe Heidelberg need him in the back line because they weren't any good.
Mate, he ran like you wouldn't believe it.
But now, apparently, not apparently, I know that a few Victory supporters were hired to come and start trouble, George.
What?
Hired? Greeks don't pay money for anyone.
Hired.
Here we go.
There wasn't money involved. There's no
Heidelberg
currency.
going to pay people to come to the games.
No, it wasn't.
That's a new low for Heidelberg.
No, there was no money involved. There was a couple of, what do they call those? The Suvalakis, I think. Is that how they say them?
Okay.
They gave him a bit of food there.
The $16 Souvlaki.
Not bad,
maybe they were $16. And I was there.
At the $18 hamburgers, mate.
And I was there at the den, and the players were coming over, and all of a sudden these two, they look, you know what, even if they weren't, they look like Victory supporters. They look right, I must admit.
Please.
And they came past and they pinched the banners off the fence there, and I walked away. Next thing you know, I heard a bit of biffo, George, and they had a couple of Raw supporters down there.
Here we go.
And they lit a flare. Now, George, your team, Heidelberg. Now, they lit a flare. Security doesn't work there. Now, why would they get an orange flare for? Were they going for Brisbane Raw?
How do you know that wasn't the Brisbane supporter who lit the flare?
No,
it's an orange bloody flare.
It wasn't. It was in the Heidelberg stand. They had the guy that's 102 years old playing the flute, and the other guy's selling those peanuts, who's been around since 1947.
When you've seen flares in the past, how many various colours of flares have you seen at the football?
Yeah.
Well, all I know is that the Burgers lit an orange flare. Are they confused?
No, they were just welcoming the Brisbane people.
Well, I think they were, George, because they lit the flare when Brisbane scored. So just go to show you how Heidelberg's travelling. Gavin, you did say Heidelberg. So Heidelberg have lost twice in a week, have they, George?
In 4 days, is that what you're trying to say?
Well, that's even better, in 4 days. So Heidelberg aren't going anywhere at the moment.
Not only.
Well, maybe they need the King back, King Kenny Few. Now,
my God.
Well, I thought you were going to say King Kenny Taylor.
Exactly.
Taylor's better, mate.
Maybe
a younger version. A younger version will get.
Well, you know what? Maybe Jeff Olver has to make a comeback.
He's back at the club.
I have something very, very serious to talk about here, Gavin. George and everybody here, we're talking. How did Oakley win the final? How did Oakley get voted to win a final without playing anything? How does that work?
It's bizarre.
What's going on
bizarre. It's just bizarre.
It's
like FFV, you know what I mean? Like, the whole thing's bizarre.
George, how did they get to win the final?
I don't know.
It's just bizarre.
They're a Greek club, aren't they?
No. Apparently, was it because of some certain amount of goals they scored or whatever it was that they called them the champions of last year or the year before?
Yeah, they carried over the points and games from last season.
Yeah.
Two seasons.
Crap.
Yeah, it's just bizarre. It means nothing anyway. Like, who cares? Who cares? Oakley get a minor championship and the season didn't even finish. Like, who cares?
Doesn't
it's just
make
like,
sense.
Exactly. It's just typical FFV, sorry. It just it doesn't make sense. It's embarrassing for the competition in my mind, you know what I mean?
So where does Avondale sit now with all this?
Oh, they just got to accept it. They try to take him to court and stuff.
Very upset.
Because of that, of course. That's what taken to court for what? I mean, this is ridiculous. I mean, those 2 seasons were just... Why would you even pick anybody?
Yeah, exactly. Just write it off. Like, everyone had to, you know what I mean? Like, it was so disappointing and it was hard, you know what I mean, for everybody. But that's just what it was, you know what I mean? You can't do anything about it. It's just what it is, you know what I mean? Like, so I just didn't understand it from the start. I just thought it was bizarre, you know what I mean? You're not going to get no money from this, so why are you bothering?
And actually, and I will come out and say right now that everyone out there listening is that, to me, the NPL is like, you know what the NPL is like now, don't you? It's non-existent the way it's going, because I spoke to your president there a few weeks ago when South Melbourne played and you beat South Melbourne on that day, right? Remember that a few weeks ago?
I remember beating South Melbourne.
You remember that very well, of course you do.
Clearly.
And George...
Well, that was a big game.
Steve,
say it again.
They beat South Melbourne. No, I know what George is going. Well, I'm with you guys. Don't worry. But the situation, I'm going to say the situation is, why are we playing in the NPL when it doesn't make sense to play in the NPL? We're talking about a second division, George. And I know for a fact that Steve Solakiti said to me on that day that you beat South Melbourne, have a look at this place. Nobody comes to the NPL anymore. What are we doing here? Even Steve spoke to me. He says, Steve, what can we do? It's got to be second division. Otherwise, people won't turn up anymore. You want to play Sydney Olympic, you're going to play Marconi, you're going to play Adelaide City, you want to play West Adelaide. For God's sakes, mate. That's where people come.
That's what the clubs need to do. But for me, if that happens and the clubs who think they should be there, because remember, there's clubs who think they should be there against clubs that can be there or will be there. For me, it's not about whether the clubs survive or whether they get their crowds in. For me, it's all about player development first and foremost. The rest of it is a little bit secondary, because player development for the long term is the key, so that we can get some young talent on the field. Will the teams in the NPL who want to be in the second division, when they get there, will they fill all their roster with overage players like the A-League does and like they're doing in the NPL? Because how many NPL 1 teams, I'll ask Mr. NPL, how many NPL 1 teams use a lot of youth team players? How many promote youth, really?
Yeah, well, we've got a couple of young guys in our first team come through the youth system.
Okay, so that's 2. Name another club.
Correct.
Outside of Melbourne Knights, you're at a push.
Yeah, Knights got a couple come through their youth system as well.
And anyone else?
No, not really.
So
a lot of people
those
come
teams
from
go
like
up,
lower leagues or
that's right. So
other clubs in the NPL.
So
you know what I mean?
like
guys.
No, I'll tell you, George. I spoke to George Cotsanis. I did speak to George. And you know what,
George Cotsanis.
And I said to George a few months ago.
I had a chat with him that
No, I had a few. I spoke to, and I said to him, George, when the second division comes, what are you going to do with players? Are you going to use, and this is what he said, his words, are you going to use players that are coming down from the A-League? You know what his words were? No way. We will not use any recycled A-League players. He wants to use homegrown players or bring players from overseas. And that's where it's going to stand too.
Well, he's done it now with the 2 Petrados boys and Ivan Fredic is 106. I mean, what's going on there? Listen, breaking news. There's been 3 great days of my life. The day I got married, the day my wife gave birth to my 2 children, and tonight, Western United 2, Melbourne Victory 1. Now, that deserves a round of applause.
Oh, my God, man.
What's happened is good news all round. And,
Sydney Olympic? Sydney Olympic?
Sydney Olympic.
Or was that
What
Sydney
it-
United?
No, Sydney United 3-0 over, who are these guys? The Mooney Pond Falcons. Who are these?
Who are they?
Mooney Ponds Falcons.
What are they?
Who are they?
Monaro Panthers or something. Who are they? Monaro Panthers. So that,
Northern New South Wales, I think, aren't they?
Yeah, Northern New South Wales, exactly.
and the Knicks beat
I think-
Devonport 4-0.
Yeah, which is, they had a story in the news about Devonport strikers
Yes.
tonight on Channel 10 News.
They
Did
did.
anyone see that?
I
About,
saw that a little bit. Yes.
What, they gave them a
it was
chance?
good. It was good. You know what I mean? Good story about it. You know what I mean?
Good
Like,
exposure,
I was
good
hoping
exposure.
they'd do all right, but yeah, obviously, 4-0 down. Yeah,
Well,
not so
I'll be-
good. So,
Well, Gav, I'll be catching an Uber home. I'm going to leave my car here because just watching that result, the Ninjas, we call them, George, beating Victory, I might have a couple more cans of beer. So I'll
Wasn't
be
it-
catching an Uber home tonight.
So they've actually beaten the two. They've beaten in the final, of course. They've beaten Melbourne City, and now they've beaten Melbourne Victory. So they're in the final. And is this the last 16 now? Is that the last 16?
Is it?
Yeah.
Or the 16?
around 32 this season, and it's not
16.
completed yet.
George,
So-
would you say Western United are the best team of Victoria, regardless of his result?
They're the best
They'd have to be.
team that play out of Tarneet. Yeah,
Out of Tarnee.
apparently that's
So
where
in
they
that
play.
20k radius, they're the best
Well, they
team,
nearly pinched my junior club name. I played for West United,
Uh-huh.
West
so I'm a
United.
bit disappointed that they nearly pinched our name.
Uh-huh.
But there's-
they pinched probably 6 Heidelberg supporters and probably another 5 South. They've only got about 12 supporters all up, haven't they?
yeah, but they're loyal, right?
But
And
it's a
they're there every
disaster. Well, you've got to admit, it's a disaster.
week. Look,
They're a great team at the moment, but there's no one goes there.
Football-wise,
Exactly.
they're running a good
Spot on,
program,
Proffies.
but
They are.
but they're struggling to get a crowd.
They are. We know that very well.
Maybe
we
You
they
see
make-
their media release during the week about their three-sided stadium they want to build, and
Yes,
want to build this huge basketball court and futsal centre and all this other rubbish.
subject to a new government, isn't it?
That's what's happened, right?
That's a
Yeah,
big subject.
to
too.
the Liberals getting in the state election.
Yeah, so that's
That
not,
ain't-
that's
And
not
yeah,
great.
the 4 of us here can all agree, we've got about 500 years' experience, that it's not, well, look, we want the game to grow, guys, obviously, but when they constantly leave out past NSL great teams and they persist with Western United and the Gold Coast
And MacArthur.
and MacArthur,
MacArthur.
They've got
the
nobody.
Fury, and
North Queensland, exactly.
yeah, and they leave out Mike Hill said it, Adelaide City, Olympic, South Melbourne.
Yeah, and
disappointing, isn't it,
bloody
George?
New Zealand Knights, or
Those
whatever they were
teams.
called when the A-League first started, they were an absolute
And
farce.
we'll even chuck in a Heidelberg. We'll give the running man a go. Those teams.
Harris
should be
Meady's,
going,
mate. He's a
shouldn't
star, mate, Harris Meady's.
they? Yeah, he's a
Of course he
star,
is.
mate.
Of
I
course
tell
he's
you
a
what, he's very
He's got
fit
good
looking
coverage. Good coverage.
He does good
Mate,
coverage.
he used to do that in South, mate, in the NSL too, mate. So he's a star, mate, Harris.
He's a star.
Amazing fella. He's an amazing guy.
Well,
Keep
the
doing
thing
it.
is, he
He's a
goes,
good
he
bloke.
supports
He's
his
a good
team.
bloke.
He
I've talked to him
supports
many
his team.
times.
Yeah.
He's a good. He's the only Heidelberg supporter I like, mate. That's saying something.
Yeah.
There's one thing, what upsets me is that what they should do, George, is they should give him an outfit to wear. So that I'm not having
Well,
a
then
go,
the Heidelberg
but
team
they
will
should-
really
he
get
doesn't-
confused.
He doesn't wear the top. That's what they should give him to wear. So
No, I
they-
think he should
they
have
really
one of
must-
those megaphones as well, like they do in.
That's
Yeah,
right.
yeah,
He
exactly.
can instruct players
Yeah,
what
he
to
can
do.
instruct
They need
players.
to, exactly, because he's actually screaming at the
Or he
players.
could carry.
I like it properly, exactly.
Well,
Come on,
maybe give him a referee outfit with a whistle.
Oh, that'd be even better. the referee, the VAR, call them the VAR.
My favourite, the referees.
Beautiful referees in Victoria, mate. I tell you what, they're beautiful. But now, how many rounds left has the MPL Victoria got? How many
Two,
rounds?
mate. Two.
Is that
Two.
it? Is that it?
Yeah.
Two games to go, regular home and away season. That's it, mate. Two, and then the finals.
So the first four in that group, in that top four, are guaranteed.
Yeah, pretty
or
much
not?
dealed. And then there's one. Then there's fifth, sixth, seventh. Are still fighting. Eighth. 4 clubs for 2 spots still fighting, and relegation.
So who are the?
And
no, who are
the minor championship's still not done yet either. So
who are the clubs just out of the 4? Who are they fighting to get in? Who are they?
the clubs outside the 4 are Heidelberg. Obviously, they're 7th.
7th.
The-
Still, are they, is
sorry,
it a it's a final,
6th. Sorry, my mistake. Sorry, sorry, Heidelberg is 6th. The 5th is Bentley on 39. Heidelberg are 6th on 39. Avondale are 7th on 37, and Dandenong are 8th on 35.
Okay, so
who misses out?
Wow,
Your
good
call.
question.
Come on, your call. You're confident about
Good
Hallis.
question. Well, I have to go on the I think Dandenong ain't going to make it,
Yeah.
and I don't think Avondale will make it. I think it'll stay as it is.
Okay, cool.
And I'm sure it should stay as it is. So that's the thing.
Did that hurt you to say?
A little bit. That's all right. I just got to call it as it is, right?
Anyway, look, we do want to see a derby. We want to see an NSL derby in the finals. You know that. We don't want to see these.
Well, there won't be Heidelberg, South Melbourne. That's for sure.
So Melbourne Knights are in there. Okay, Melbourne Knights.
If Heidelberg win their if Heidelberg finish 6th, they win their elimination final against third, which would be Port Melbourne.
Yeah.
We would play them in the semi-final at home, mate. Now that would be good.
Oh, well, we have to go to that for sure.
Yeah.
But the thing is, we want to see former NSL derbies. That's what we want to see.
Oh, well, I just want to see my team win.
Of course, yeah. But George, we don't want to. I understand you say Port Melbourne are there, and you say Bentley Greens are there. But if you go back to the New South Wales NPL and see how many former NSL clubs are in those the finals. My God, George, that's what I want.
It's good, but
expect.
Just because they're NSL doesn't make them a sure thing for the second division.
I know.
Yeah, so but there are better run clubs.
There is
than the former NSL clubs that are probably ahead.
We do know that.
Yeah,
but we want to see those names.
In the BPL there is. In the NPL there is. You're right there.
That's right, and that's what we want to see too. So, thank you, Gavin. Tonight.
Well, hold on. Before Gavin goes,
it's going to cut out.
Can I just add, Gavin? Avondale Heights have got a great stadium, a block of land in amongst two residents' houses, is it? Are they still playing out there?
It's at the old Commonwealth Games, Athletes Village, mate. That's where it is, right next to Essendon Royals old ground.
It is, yes, I know that very well. I've been there, actually, yeah, Royals, yeah.
Was it the Benito Club?
Reggio Calabria.
Reggio Calabria Club, correct, exactly.
So be careful what you say.
Exactly.
Watch out the car park, mate.
Bloody hell, this bloke. Hey, he's back again.
There might be another John Mark. Remember those days, Gavin, when Morwell Falcons played South Melbourne and our mate Johnny Boy caused some havoc.
Not again.
The good old days. I love Morwell. I've told him 4 many times, Proppy. Love the Morwell trip.
And what about Bobby Despotowski? He did something.
We've got to go. We're running out of time here.
All right, guys. Good to talk to you, mate.
All the best.
We'll talk to you next week. Monday night.
Doing the show Monday or what?
Actually, yes, we do have a show, and we've got Ante Juric, championship coach.
Oh, yeah,
Ante Juric is on, boys. Ante Juric, yes, a former Socceroo and champion coach, a bloody Olympic. There you go.
Now, are we done, or can I give our mate... Now, have you played the game, George? Because I've got some questions.
Keep going, boys. Got the music on.
Now, hold on. I've got to give my 30-second shot clock. I won't take long.
Oh, no.
Now, George, make sure you win this.
All right, let's do the 30-second shot clock, Proppies. Talk to you soon, mate.
Thank you, Gavin. Talk to you soon.
Now, George...
guys. See you.
I'm going to give you some questions.
Yeah.
Short questions, short answers. Now, I know you're going to want to win this. Under 14 seconds.
Better do it, mate. Press the button here, mate.
And you will be provided with a Brisbane. All right. So give you your best shot. Now, Harry, start the clock. Thank you.
Okay, here we go.
Now, George, dogs or cats?
What's that, mate? I don't know.
What was the question?
The question is dogs or cats?
Bulldogs. Sorry. I was just...
He's in the Bulldog support.
Dogs.
Well, yep, that's fair enough. Favourite movie, George?
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Oh, yes.
One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest.
Keep going. You wasted time in.
Yep, here we go. Hardest opponent, George. Do you remember anyone?
Yeah, Matt McDonald.
Matt McDonald, yes, great player. I went to school with him, did I? Can't remember. How do you like your steak? Now, that could be a Greek joke.
Well done.
It's not medium rare?
No,
no. Fair enough.
I like the answer.
Yeah, there. Coffee or tea for you, George?
Definitely coffee.
Best soccer player of all time?
Kenny Dalglish.
Harry, stop the clock, for heaven's sake.
What are you doing, man?
Dalglish.
No, mine.
Have you heard of Pele,
mate?
Sent from God.
Have you heard of Pele?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Messi?
Yeah.
Have you heard of Charlie Yankos, George?
Second best player of all time.
Second best time. Well, we can see your very biased. Let's start the clock, Harry.
I like it. I love it. I want some more of it.
Tell you what,
they want more of it, mate.
Ford or Holden for you, George?
Holden.
A Twitter or Instagram?
Twitter.
A vanilla or chocolate?
Chocolate.
Now, are you married, are you, George?
Been there, done that. Got the T-shirt.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I can ask this question. What works for you, blondes or brunettes?
Neither work for me.
Well, fair enough.
They do what they want to do, don't they?
Well, that's
Jesus, what was that, mate?
No, that's
reaction.
fair enough. Now, back in the younger days, which is only about 10 years ago for you, because you're much younger than us, disco or rock and roll for you, George? What worked for you?
Nah, I could go a bit of both.
A bit of both, yeah? So you're on both sides of the fence, are you?
Oh, I can be both sides of that fence.
Well, you can join us in the Mardi Gras float. We can have you up there, and you can dress up.
A little bit of country, a little bit of...
Bit of country, Fair enough. Well, there you go. It is the real George Cotsanis tonight. And he's not a Heidelberg supporter. He told me before the show he actually follows South Melbourne. Harry.
Oh, my God. I can't
You've dobbed me in.
Are you serious, George?
I'm sorry.
Well, are we done? What's going on?
Guys, well, thank George for coming tonight. Thank you, George.
Been a pleasure.
George,
We'll get you back on soon.
Thank you.
Guys, football is brought to you by There's Only One Football. We're talking about, what are they called? Sea City Lawyers. These are the lawyers that come to you. And there's Arrow Sport, guys, arrowsport.com. All sorts of stuff. Come on, guys.
She bangs.
Good night, guys, and footballers. We'll see you Monday night with Championship coach Ante Urich from New South Wales, Sydney.
Who is that?
Check it out. Read it.
You get Paul Wade on the show.
Paul Wade, I can't do that.
The
cup of life.
The greatest
This is
defender
the
ever played
one.
the game of.
Who's that?
Now
Kevin
is the
Durant
time.
has to be the
Don't
best defender
never stop.
I've ever seen.
We shouldn't look. Gotta be strong. We shouldn't look. Right from the top. And when you feel the heat, the world is at your feet. No one can hold you back if you really want it. I see it in your eyes. You want the cup of life. Not the days here you're gonna get it. Good night, guys. Do you really want it? Do you tell me right now, people? Here we go. Ali, Ali, Ali. Okay, guys. See you next week, Monday night at 8:30 with Ante Urich, Olympic Championship coach. Good night, guys. Hi guys, Harry Sunday here, letting you know that there's a apparel company that supports the game that you love. It's called thereisonlyonefootball.com, guys. They've got all sorts of stuff from caps, t-shirts, water bottles, all sorts of accessories, even for your mobile phone. All that sporting stuff you can wear anywhere you want to wear it, guys. That's right. And don't forget the website it's on, thereisonlyonefootball.com.
There is only one football.
To show you what's happening right here, right now in the studio, because we've got this beautiful shirts that we're showing with Frothy right now, guys. Frothy's back with me. Frothy, what's happening with these shirts, mate? Can you tell me what's happening right now?
Shut up, let me talk.
Oh,
Now,
bloody
listen,
hell, mate.
We have these great tops here.
Yes.
Now, it's a bit of a 2-minute show tonight, I believe. So
Yes.
we're back in town, but we'll be
We are.
officially back in town on
That's right,
Monday
yep,
with
yep,
some
yep,
major announcements and start again. Announcements.
Yes.
Can you spell announcements? Can you?
Announcements.
Can you spell that?
I can't spell
Well,
it
leave
all.
it for next time. Now, let's go through the tops. Now,
That's
these
right, yep,
tops,
yep.
well, if you were born 400 years ago, you'd know about these tops. So we've got the great St. George here, I believe.
No, Brisbane Lions,
Sorry
mate.
about that.
Brizzy
Brisbane Lions there.
Brizzy Lions, mate.
And we got South Melbourne Hellas there.
No, Fitzroy United, you're
Sorry
telling me,
about
mate.
that.
Fitzroy United.
This one's Inter Monaro, is it?
Into Monaro.
No, that's St. George Budapest.
St.
apparently.
George, yes, the Hungarians.
Yes,
The Hungarians,
and over
mate.
to my right, which is your right as well. Are we still
Yes.
on?
We're still on, of course, we're still on,
Well,
mate.
over
Yes.
here, we've got the great Sydney Olympic. And I know the cat has probably ordered a couple of
Oh,
those.
he's got a couple of hundred, mate.
Well, I'll tell you why he's ordered a couple. I had a chat with Peter Raskopoulos during the week.
Oh, he hates his guts.
And he said to me, Peter Catholos, a cat, has ordered two because his gut's so bloody big, he needs two jumpers to make
Really?
one. So, well, look, that's only a joke. Cat,
Oh, my God, mate.
well, look, also, Canberra, what's this? Canberra City.
Canberra City. You know who coached them?
Yes.
In 1977?
Frank Arrock, wasn't
Johnny
it?
Warren.
Johnny Warren.
We're laughing, mate, everywhere.
I told you so, Johnny Warren said. I doubt we sell many because how many supporters did they have? That's beside the point. Also, we got Hokoa up there.
That's
great,
right, of course.
Brazilian heritage, are they?
Brasilia, well, yeah, a lot of them escaped to Brazil.
We'll leave it at that. And the great Marconi.
Marconi.
And let's go through them. Great quality.
Of course.
They fit nicely. They are cheap. You know what? They're too bloody cheap.
$75.
$75 is not even $80.
Plus postage and handling.
Plus postage and handling, and our great friend with David Ben and Arrow Sport.
Arrow Sport together. And guys, you can buy them on. There's only one
you keep
football.
Going. I'll play the great South Melbourne tune.
There is only one football where you can get it from. There is only one football.com in conjunction with Arrow Sport. You can also buy fantastic kits for your teams as well at Arrow Sport, and they're working together to bring you these fantastic 1977 Phillips League. Of course, you're bloody on, Frothy. And of course, guys, 1977. These shirts are fantastic. You've got the other ones at $150, which are the original gigs, $150, and then you've got the sublimated ones at $75, guys. So yes.
And can I just say, I suppose it's not appropriate to say this. But my team had a win on the weekend.
Yes, they did.
Well, not on the weekend, a couple of days ago. So they're flying, and I tell you what, it's pretty much it. Now we're going to sing a song just to.
Well, I can't. We can't actually sing a song tonight because we're just doing the show tonight. That's all.
We're just advertising the jumpers here.
That's right, guys. But where do you get them from? There is only one football. That's the one there. So, guys, thank you, guys. Get these fantastic shirts right now because you will never find them. Good night, guys. Thank you for joining us. See you in a couple of days' time. Thanks, guys. Get on Arrow Sport.
Monday,
Arrow Sport. There's only one football.com.
We'll probably have Paul Wade on.
Thank you, guys. See you. Bye-bye.
There's going to be summer we're going to have.
That's it. Thanks.